I'm J. Rachel Edidin.
And I'm Miles Stokes.
And we're the hosts of Rachel and Miles Explain the X-Men, a weekly podcast all about the ins, the outs, and the retcons of our very favorite superhero soap opera.
We're also the hosts of Rachel and Miles Review the X-Men,
which you're watching right now,
where we talk about the X-books that come out each week.
Now, we've only got one new X-book this week, but I think it's worth noting, too, that the first issue of Worst X-Men Ever is out in print this week. It was available only digitally previously. We've already reviewed that, but if you haven't picked it up, we highly recommend it. It's a really good comic.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, all new X-Men.
Our first and only new X-book this week is All New X-Men number 5, written by Dennis Hopeless, penciled by Mark Bagley, inked by Andrew Hennessy, and colored by Nolan Woodard. What did you think?
I liked it. I don't think it was the strongest, most standout book in the run so far, but it's a nice, solid, enjoyable issue that gets the story a little bit further along in terms of action, in terms of character stuff. I dig it.
Yeah, the book had a lot of moments that I really enjoyed. It didn't quite coalesce. I think it is my complaint with it if I've got one. But yeah, again, individual scenes have consistently been this book's strength and character moments. And again, we've got those sort of framed by the larger perspective of a fight going on in the background. And for me, it works really, really well. I gotta say, man, this book is giving me even more Iceman feels.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I think a lot of readers were kind of worried about where Iceman, especially young Iceman, would go once Bendis' run was over. But Bobby could not be in better hands than Dennis Hopeless right now. You know, his coming out is absolutely being addressed without defining the character. I think the balance is handled particularly well.
Two characters who we haven't seen much of yet this run get a little bit more front and center this issue, which I dug. Those are Edie and Evan.
Mm-hmm. Oya and Genesis.
Right.
Or Kid Apocalypse.
And Oya in particular, I really, really like in this book. She's a character who's been defined largely by her faith and her relationship to religion, which started out very, very fraught. She was very, very religious, but raised in a tradition where mutants were considered the work of the devil. Actually, there's a lot in common with Wolfsbane on that
I was just thinking Rain Sinclair 2.0, yeah.
Yeah, and And her sort of push and pull with that was pretty central in some of her stuff in Wolverine and the X-Men.
Mm-hmm. Generation Hope as well.
Now seeing her try to come to terms with that and try to find a middle ground and some kind of relationship to something that was very, very central, and in a lot of ways very positive to her life before the X-Men, but has also been a huge factor in her rejecting her mutation and her very, very fraught relationship with the mutant community, is really cool, and I think being handled well and realistically and fairly evenly. Yeah,
a lot of anger, a lot of condemnation of the tradition in which she was raised without condemning religion in general, which is a hard line to draw.
Yeah, this is something that I have to say doesn't speak to me at all personally, but echoes so directly the experiences of a lot of really close friends who've left very, very, very orthodox religious traditions and sort of struggled to find a new point of entry or a new way to relate to those traditions.
Mm-hmm. Now, as for Evan Sabanur, which, by the way, is such a great name to give a character like that, and Sabanur to Evan Sabanur, great. Yeah, like the fact that, I think Dennis Hopeless touched on this in the interview we did with him as an episode a while back. Yeah, the fact that he loves collecting, like, designer sneakers.
I love that that's a thing, yeah.
Right, but also I enjoy how much he's both a wingman and a supporter to Bobby, as Bobby is sort of struggling to come to terms with being gay. Like, you know, he helps secure him a date with a handsome French gentleman.
A potential date, a phone number.
A phone number, it's a start. But also basically talks about how, of course, he's going to support Bobby. You know, does he think something like being gay is going to be a big deal? Like, he's a clone of Apocalypse, and the X-Men accepted him, which, yeah, that kind of, like, soap opera just amped up to 11 in terms of the sheer nonsense that goes on is exactly why I'm an X-Men reader.
Evan is such a good kid.
Mm-hmm, he totally is.
Yeah, I like all of these characters. I mentioned, I think, last issue that this book is making me care about Angel.
Yeah, Angel in this issue is fascinating.
Which continues to be the case and continues to be really weird for me. Mm-hmm. I'm not used to that feeling.
Yeah, Angel and Wolverine's relationship remains the sort of center of this second arc. I mean, there are a number of plots, but that's, I guess, the A-plot, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I buy it. Angel having trouble dealing with Wolverine's, like, increasingly semi-suicidal behavior. I know some people have taken issue with her portrayal, saying she's a little too much diving into battle.
So profoundly with that. Yeah. I'm not going to go into details. I mean, my read on the character is obviously very, very different from those people's. For me, I think this rings very true in a lot of ways, especially to the character's history. Mm-hmm. And especially to, I think, the experience of someone coming in with her history to a team in which it's really, really easy to extrapolate your role if you're in her position as being the one who can take a lot of damage. And how easy, I mean, I'm thinking back, how easy it would be to be in that position and not even necessarily consciously extrapolate from that your value to the team was determined by the amount of damage you then took.
Yeah, totally. I also feel like it's consistent with the way she's being written in All New Wolverine. Like, those seem to be parallel takes on the character that line up quite well. So, it's a solid middle chapter. Again, not the most standout issue in the world, but it's a good one. This arc in general, I think, is going to shape up to be pretty excellent as well.
Ooh, I want to nitpick for a second, actually.
Okay.
Can I? This is something that I normally would not go. We normally don't cover in the reviews, but you pointed it out and we were going through, and it's been bugging me ever since, which is that Angel's face gear is totally inconsistent.
His facial buttresses change from one scene to the next.
Well, there's either a headband or there's not.
Mm-hmm. In the middle right there?
Yeah, and there's no logic to how it comes and goes. It's just not consistently drawn.
Maybe it has something to do with his flaming wings, like his suit can morph as well, just like they can burst into flame or not. It's something to do with the black vortex,
It's like when Mega Man changes gear and his costume changes color.
So you're saying that Angel, basically ate Shatterstar and Gambit, he beat them and took their facial buttresses and he can switch between them now? Or maybe he did eat them and he's like Kirby? Angel probably has that power now, just to vacuum people into his mouth.
Does this Angel have all of the dumb powers? Or does he just have,
does he have healing blood that can cure AIDS, is what you're asking?
I am asking that.
Has not been addressed. We shall see.
I really hope it never is.
So
I hope it just never comes up.
Anyway,
I hope we can all just quietly forget about that plot point and go on with our lives.
And now that we've discussed the AIDS curing Angel blood, I feel like our work in this review is complete. So there you go. Our pick of the week, since we have only one comic and didn't go out for pizza this time, is...
Well, and also because it's a comic we really liked.
We did, yes.
Which is I think, the salient difference between this week and last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously All New X-Men number 5. What's our panel of the week?
Our panel of the week is from All New X-Men number 5.
You don't say.
I do.
My God.
And it's this one of Angel looking at Laura after she's been, basically she's had her head pulped by the Blob. And I just really enjoy the body language and the expressiveness in Angel's face right here. I also enjoy specifically that he looks like he should body-wise, which is a dude with hollow bones, who's very thin, with an incredibly fast metabolism, who's basically built like a bird. Also, I mean, that's a lot of different abs he has. Rob Liefeld would be proud. But it works.
I really like the layout of the panel, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And the coloring in it. I think it's really strong. It's a really good single piece. It's a really good bit of narrative. And panels that bridge that are often among my favorites.
Yeah, and I think it adds to the sort of horrific effect that we don't see what Angel sees. We don't see what's left of Wolverine's head.
Right, it's the horror movie reaction shot.
Exactly. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching.
If you like what you've seen here, check out our podcast, Rachel and Miles Explain the X-Men. New episodes go up every Sunday at rachelandmiles.com, also on iTunes and Stitcher. This week, I believe we've got still more Captain Britain.
We do indeed. This is going to be part 2 of 2 of our Captain Britain coverage. Turns out there's a lot of it that's relevant to Excalibur.
There's just a lot of it in general. Man, there is so much Captain Britain.
There kind of is.
So much.
This time we hang out with Megan, who's great. We meet TechNet, who's really great.
Yes.
And we see the Lighthouse, where Excalibur is going to be spending many, many years.
That podcast, these video reviews, and everything at rachelandmiles.com are brought to you by our rad Patreon subscribers. They keep this stuff going. They keep it entirely ad-free. And if you want to join their ranks, which you totally should, you can do that at the link either above or below this podcast, depending on where you're watching it.
Indeed. In the meantime, we will see you next week with some adult X-Men books.
Whoa!
I mean, like grown-up, not about teenagers. I mean, we don't know what's in the comics, so we'll find out with you, listeners.
So there is actual X-Men porn.
Not
actual. It's not licensed or anything, but it's a porn parody, like the Batman.
Weren't we talking about doing an episode where we reviewed that?
I still actually really want to do that. I have to write to the publisher.
Huh. That would be a bizarre and strange thing, and we would really earn that little red E next to our podcast in iTunes.
What if we just didn't swear at all and kept the descriptions in the episode super G-rated?
Just totally G-rated?
Yes.
I like this plan.
That could be the only totally G-rated episode of the podcast.
We could adhere to broadcast standards and practices.
Oh my God.